What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, your host, John Vaughn. So it's about 20 minutes before the actual training session starts, as you could see. So before the actual training session starts, I just wanted to, I wanted to build out a little flow for the actual training session. So I'm going to start doing that. So I'm going to actually go through and build out a, uh, I'm going to go out and build out a flow that is going to be a broadcast that I'm going to send out to everybody that's actually enrolled. So I'm going to go in and create a new broadcast that basically, actually, I'm going to let them know. So I'm going to let everybody know that training is starting soon. So this is about 15 minutes. So here's this. We're going to open a website, and we are actually going to open up this Zoom link here for this training session. So we're going to open up this training session. We're going to open up that training session. And then we're also going to continue to another step and go right into our flow builder. And what we're going to go in and do is we are going to have a condition. We're going to have a condition, which is tag is action taker. All right. If they are action taker, if they haven't, so now we're going to go in and put take action. And we are going to open up a website, and that website is going to be this bot training link. So it's going to be that right there. So now you can see there's our actual flow to send out in this broadcast, and that's pretty straightforward and simple. We're going to send everybody a notice that training is starting soon at 9 a.m. And I am real excited, guys. Hopefully you guys are excited too, because you know what? I'm spending 35 hours of my time. I've already spent literally like 40 hours of my time with you guys, with some of you guys on the pre-training sessions. Now that's why I look like this, obviously, because I don't sleep a lot. Because you can't get much done when you're sleeping other than dreaming. And I don't like, I mean, I like to dream about stuff, but I really like to accomplish my dreams. And to accomplish your dreams, you have to be awake and you have to be working and doing stuff. So I have continuously worked 14 to 18 hours a day for the last 3 years. Now that has actually allowed me to start my own company, be in a position where I'm the boss and I'm the CEO and I'm the owner of a company that has over 32 engineers on staff, full-time software developers that work for me at my beck and call, that are able to do all my work. So I didn't get to that position without, working my ass off. So that's what I'm been doing. That's why my eyes are red. That's why I look so tired, because like I said, I don't sleep, and honestly, I am tired, but I'm a man on the mission. I've got goals. I've got dreams myself. And I know myself that I won't actually accomplish things unless I'm an action taker and unless I work. Now, I do get enough sleep so that my body's good, but mostly I just work. And I am a man of passion, and I am a man of work ethics, and I'm a fucking genius. So I don't have a big sensor, so I'm going to tell you that, guys, straight up, that you will hear profanity during this training session, because it will come out of my mouth. Now, if it offends you, feel free just to let me know, and I will make a conscious effort not to do that. But like I said, I don't have a censor. I don't let words offend me. And if you check out my Facebook page, you can see this is why I'm so smart. So it's a proven fact that people who curse are just naturally smarter. So we got a couple minutes. We got 13 minutes, guys. And then our actual training is going to start. So you can see this little flow that I wanted to build here, right? Pretty straightforward. Join the training. If you're an action taker, then I'm just going to thank you for being an action taker. All right. If you're not an action taker, then I'm just going to remind you that you can go in and take some action. So I'm going to have you go in and take some action. Now I'm going to go next, and I am going to broadcast this to everybody. Let's say 408 users. I'm just going to go ahead and broadcast this to all of them and let them know that training is starting soon. Here's the actual link to the training, and then give them a reminder that they can go in and actually take action, and give me a little bit of money for a huge value for this actual training. So like I said, if you were to look here, let's take a look. Let's go to an incognito window. And while we're here, I'll just go to YouTube real quick. And while we're loading up YouTube, I will come here to my automation and to my keywords. I can see DemoBot must be messaging me. DemoBot must be messaging me. I'm going to come here. I'm going to look at these pre-training videos, and I'm going to come over here and take a look at these pre-training videos as well. And we haven't technically started training yet, so we did get one student that showed up. So, hey, Jay, what's up? So Jay's going to get to see a little bit of the video that no one else is actually going to see unless they watch the pre-training video, because it's all happening before the actual training session. So I just need to log in here, and then I'll show you basically all of this content. If you see, this is all content that's actually been done before the training session. So we gave everybody, or when I say we is basically me. I just say we because typically me means a company. So I am a person, but I run an entire company. I manage an entire company. And usually whenever you ask me to do something, or whenever somebody asks me to do something, or when I have to do something, I delegate it out to people that I've hired, experts that I've hired to do my work for me, because I need to be available to do really higher level stuff. So almost everything to me I consider low level, because at the level that I operate. But so basically, I opened up the training sessions to people beforehand. So whenever you registered, I actually gave you the option to tell me if you were interested in pre-training sessions. So sessions that are going to be really similar to these live training sessions that we're going to start in 10 minutes. And I just asked through the bot if you were interested in those pre-training sessions. Now, if you said yes, that you were interested in those pre-training sessions, what's up, Eddie? Then what I did is every day, well, almost every day, honestly, guys, I did take a I did take a break, you know, and I did a lot of work, got a lot of work done, accomplished for my company, did a lot of sales, talked to a bunch of the clients that I had actually been neglecting me that pay our company a large amount of money to do their work. And then I got a lot of sleep too, which was really great because not very often do I get to take a lot of sleep. So I got a lot of sleep. But other than that, every day since I actually launched the initial funnel, since I decided that I'll actually do what all these other jackasses are doing, which is have some bot training, and I decided to do a little bit different, which is not charge you some $500 and not charge you some $2,000 and actually teach you something functional, not just teach you how to send gifts through your bot or how to deliver a content sequence, but actually build a functional bot, which you won't find anywhere else. Trust me on that. So yeah, I opened it up where you could come and enjoy the pre-training sessions. And then every day since I launched that funnel, so basically for the last 10 days, 9 of those days, we've had pre-training sessions all day long, which is what you can see here. So you can see this day we had 5 of those sessions. Each of these sessions are between an hour to 3 hours long. We had 2 sessions this day, 5 sessions this day, 3 sessions this day, 2 sessions this day, 5 sessions this day, 3 sessions this day, 2 sessions that day, and 4 sessions that day. So even though I have a degree in mathematics, I don't know how many sessions that is. It seems like it's quite a lot of sessions. So it does seem like it's quite a lot of sessions, but we gave you all this pre-training sessions. So if you guys actually joined that, then great. If you didn't join that, then you didn't get to have a one up. So now basically all those people, and there have been people who have been on every single one of those sessions. So those guys have a really big jump start and a really, really big head start of you guys. But I can see that, we got 7 minutes until the training starts. So I need to do something like get some coffee and some water, probably use the bathroom, maybe smoke a cigarette. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video, and then I'll leave the training session open. I'll pause that video. And whenever this countdown down here gets to 000, then if you haven't taken action, that price is going to go from $47 to $197. So if you haven't done that, maybe you want to do that right now. If you don't want to, that's fine. You don't have to. But we'll start at that actual time. So until then, what's up, guys? I'm still actually finishing my smoke and coffee. But thank you guys for coming. So our training has actually officially started. So thank you guys for being here. I'm actually pretty excited about it. So typically, and you're very welcome. So this I'm doing for you guys, and I know some of you guys have said that you've joined, and you guys have joined as action takers. So today, one of the sessions. So this session right here. This session you guys want to make sure that you definitely come to. This session is specifically about Facebook advertising. There will be a Facebook ad expert that is our guest speaker that is going to manage most of the session. It will give me a little bit of time to take a break. And also for you guys, it will give you guys a chance to query an expert in Facebook advertising and marketing. So I'm an engineer. My specialties is in engineering, logical planning, mathematics. So I do understand marketing and the concepts of marketing, but this guy is a specialist. So he'll be able to answer all your questions about how to use ads and how to integrate ads with your bot and how to make specific ads that are converting well for bots, and all those good ad questions. So you guys definitely want to come there. And I mean, because if you guys are action takers, you got that money in ad spend that you're going to get to spend. So you want to be there for that session to talk to that guy and listen to what he has to say about Facebook advertising, and then do the QA with him and ask him any questions that you could actually have. So in these sessions is I just kind of open up the floor to you guys and kind of figure out from you guys what it is that you want to learn, what things that you want to do. So we still, since there's only 15 people on the session right now, then I'm still really comfortable doing that. If we get to some 30, 40 people on the session, then we can still do that. And what I'll do is I'll just mute all you guys, and then I'll just have you guys raise your hand and stuff, or put your questions in the box, and then we can go from there. But while I finish this and this coffee right here, I'll just open it up to you guys. If there's any particular things that you want to make sure that we cover, or you want to see, or you want to learn, or any questions that you want to ask, we can go ahead and start with a couple of those if you guys want. Don't be shy, guys. Okay, Robin. Well, I want to make sure that you do that, and that's really what this training is about. So as long as you stick around for all of them, trust me, you will definitely learn that. You should be a lot of guys here, maybe not a lot of them, but I know at least 3 guys here have been on several of the training sessions that we've had already. And I could tell you that those guys they're not super experts, but you can just even ask those guys, and they can tell you how much stuff they've learned and what their level of bodying is now from where they're at. And yeah, you guys can talk about anything that you want, and then we'll kind of go from there. I just need to finish this smoke and have this, and then the first thing I'm going to do before we get to any of your questions, I want to go ahead and hear some of your questions and what we're going to talk about. But the very first thing I'm going to do is go in and actually build a flow with you guys, which is specific for this training session, to get some accountability on who actually came to this first training session. Okay, so I see a lot of questions in here already. Like I said, guys, feel free to use your mics if you want to. I don't have any problem with that. I like the verbal conversation. It makes it much easier for me because then I don't actually have to read stuff. So,
hey, John, it's Joe.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good. Sorry, my mic was muted before. I'm not sure why it says my wife's name. Is that because of the way I originally signed up?
Maybe you're logged into her Zoom account or something.
Oh. All right. Anyway, when you see Sherry, it's Joe.
Okay. So, like I said, guys, feel free to ask anything that you want. The first thing that I'm going to do on this training session is I'm going to go through and make a little flow that will actually account for the training sessions today, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new training session or a new piece of content that's going to say attended this session. And then what I'll do is every session I'll actually go in and edit this piece of content, make a really simple edit to it to account for what training session that you're actually going to. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. I've got over here, if I look in my audience, I've got a lot of tags already because I allowed you guys to be able to go in and say that you guys were going to attend this training right here. So I see that 11 of you guys actually went in and said you were going to attend this training. So there's more than 11 of you, but I don't think all quite 11 of you guys are here. But what we're going to do is go in and make a tag kind of similar to this. That is just going to allow you guys to, or allow me anyways, to know that you actually attended this training. So this is day 1, first session. There will be 5 sessions today. According to this training schedule, this is the first one. It will be a 2-hour session. We'll have a break. We'll do another one at 12 p.m. to 1. We'll have a break, do another one from 2 p.m. to 4. Like I said, we got a guest speaker there coming in, Matthew Timms, to talk about Facebook advertising. We'll have another break, do another session from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Then we'll have another break, a little bit longer break, and come back, do another session from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So all today I'll be editing this guy, and all I'll literally be doing is changing this tag to reflect the actual training session that you guys actually attended. So I'm just going to tag you guys with that you attended this training session. I'm going to grab this starting step over here, and I'm just going to move him right onto the action. And then I'm just going to say, thanks for attending this training session. And that's it. And that's pretty straightforward, right? Nothing else is going to happen there other than I'm just going to segment you a little bit so I know. And then probably what I'll do here is I'll probably end up adding in some link to this Facebook page where after the training session, if you guys want to go in and leave a comment on a post that's going to be here about your feedback of the training session, how you liked it, then you guys can go in and do that as well, which will provide some really great social proof. So I'll go ahead and put that in this flow.
Hi, John. Can I ask a question about broadcasting?
Yeah, of course.
There is a discussion at the moment within the ManyChat community group about promotional broadcasting. And I think maybe there's a cultural difference because within the group, Andrew posted, if you want to offer somebody a promotion within the broadcast, you can ask them whether they want to receive this promotion. And I think a lot of people reacted to that. Well, that is a real promotion. So how is this possible to do within the requirements of Facebook? Do you have an opinion about it? Do you have a suggestion about it?
Yeah, of course. So right now, to be honest, I'm always going to tell you guys that if you value yourself, if you value your business, if you value all the hard work that you're doing, and just a disclaimer, guys, I have a potty mouth, so you could hear some profanity come out of my mouth. If that's offensive to you, you just if I do it, you just drop something in the box and say, John, you're an asshole or something like that. Please stop cussing, and then I'll try to consciously mind myself and not do it. So if you guys value your business and you value all this hard work that you're doing, my best advice to you is to follow Facebook's terms of conditions to the T. If you are unsure whether what you're doing is a violation of their terms of service, just don't do it. Okay? So that's always going to be my advice, because we put so much work into our page. We spend advertising dollars on our page. We work on our page. We work on our bot. We collect fans. We collect leads and shit. And now if we get our Facebook page banned, then that's bad business for us. That's no good at all for anybody, right? On top of that, if we get our personal Facebook page, like our personal account, deactivated as well, well then a lot of the people here on this training session, you guys just might have a heart attack and be needed to check into a mental institution or something. So we don't want that to happen, obviously. So if you have any questions, if you think you're in a violation, just don't do it. Now, with that being said, what are realistic expectations? Well, realistic expectations is predicted right now. This messenger marketing, I'm sure you guys are aware that this is a new thing, a very new thing, okay? And what's up, Sergio? It's becoming really, really, really trendy. It's predicted that in the U.S. market, 80% of all businesses by 2020 will be using a chatbot on Facebook. That is a prediction by Facebook itself. Like I said, this is a very, very new thing. Even even the Messenger API. So ManyChat works just by being able to communicate with Facebook's Messenger API. My software company, when we build bots, we build custom bots sometimes, and we work directly with that API. We work directly with a lot of different Facebook APIs, and that API in particular, the Facebook Messenger API, that API is in a constant flux of changing, a very constant flux of changing. Even their broadcast API, that broadcast API has, if you look at their change log, it has been modified 3 times over the last 4 weeks. And when they modify an API, that's a huge thing, because if I build an application based on a certain API structure, certain edges, certain routes that you give me, and then certain pieces of data, or expect a certain piece of data in return, and you go in and modify that, that means all my shit no longer works. I have to go employ one of my engineers, talk to one of my engineers, or stop what I'm doing and go in and code the thing and fix the same myself for our application to work. All right. So it's a really new thing. That's the point. It's in a constant flux of change. And because of that, what you guys should really expect is this going to be the Wild West for some time, man. This is like the fucking new marketing Wild West of 2017. What can you do? Anything you want. That's what you can literally do. There's over 3,000 new Facebook bots hitting Facebook every single day. Although Facebook is a huge company, they don't employ every single person in the world, and they physically can't go in and monitor your broadcast for 3,000 new bots every single day. You think after 1 week, that's 21,000 new bots that have hit their actual platform. They can't monitor all that. So should you really worry about so much stuff? Like, if it's not a flagrant offer saying, hey, come buy this shit for me right now, in a broadcast, if your user hasn't interacted within 24 hours. Now, they say if they've interacted with your bot within 24 hours, send them whatever you want. Tell them, buy, whatever you want. But if they haven't interacted in 24 hours, that's where they're telling you not to send direct promotional broadcasts. So if it's not just flagrant where, a child could look at it and tell you, you're trying to sell me some shit right there. I see you're trying to sell me some shit. If it's not flagrant like that, then you really don't have to worry about it. Because like I said, even you can put the flagrant stuff in it, and 9 times out of 10, you can just rest assured that nothing's going to happen because they literally can't monitor everything. But the best practice and the best advice that I can give you is just, if you have a question, don't do it. Abide by their terms of service, because even if they let us do whatever they want us to do, even if it is a wild, wild west, they do have some, little papers with some laws on it. And they do have some guys on horses riding around out there that are going to eventually enforce those laws. And if enough people complain about you or spam your bot, and they come in and check at that point and see that, oh, you've been violating our TOS, then if they want to, for any reason, shut you down, they can shut you down, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So you better just not risk it if you value your business. So what you could do instead, if they haven't been active in 24 hours, then send them out a message and say, hey, how are you today? Are you having a good day today? You remember me? Hey, here's a new piece of content I thought you would like. Do you like it? What did you think of this? Now, as soon as they interact and they were like, even if they say this sucks, you give them a piece of content and then you give them 2 options. This was great. This sucks. Even if they say this sucks, well, guess what? Now they've interacted with your bot within 24 hours. Say, sorry, it sucks. Here's a paid piece of content that's 100 times better. You want to buy it? And then you're good. No problem there.
I think these are 2 very good tips. When you don't feel good about it, don't do it. But also what you say is, do not do a direct promotional broadcast offer. I think these are 2 very good tips. I'm going to work with that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm almost done building this flow for you guys. I got a little bit distracted. I need to go in and actually pin this post now, so that you guys can easily find this post. And plus my broadcast says, my thing that I'm going to ask you guys to click says that it's going to be pinned at the top of this page. But that's pretty much it. So this guy is actually published. He's called Attended the Session. So that you guys can actually get that, what we would do is we would go to a growth tool, and I'm going to use a new growth tool, and I'm going to use this Messenger ref URL. So if you notice what I did, and this is what I did, and this is a best practice that I will tell every one of you guys, what I always do whenever I want to make a flow, right? Whenever I want to make some sequence of messages, some routing structure, some open dialogue or call to actions, or, you know, some of you guys have called them funnels, you know, or some lead scoring mechanism or some way to collect emails. Whenever I want my bot to perform a particular function, then what I do is I just go into content, I create a new piece of content, and I give it a generic name so that I know how to easily reference that in the future, so that now whenever I want to go in and create a keyword, or I want to go in and create one of these growth tools, or whenever I want to go in and create a new piece of content and I know that I want that content to be able to route into multiple generic functionalities, I can just easily go in and find that generic piece of content that I had and then just basically reference that guy. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create this guy right here, and this is going to be called attended this session ref. I know I can't. You guys will learn very, very quick. I have a potty mouth sometimes, and I can't spell at all. So I'm really bad. You know, I'm really bad at spelling because there's not a because it's not a syntax. So anyways, this flow is pretty much done. I need to define this guy right here, and I'll pin that guy to the top of the page. And then now this guy is actually done. So now I can just grab this guy and I can put him in here. And then I can just ask you guys if you could be so kind to go in. If you can be so kind just to go in and click that link real quick so that I can see who all has attended training sessions. And you will get something really special if you attend all the training sessions, and you'll get to know more about that as the training goes on. So now to go in and look at a bunch of your questions and try to first go in and do this, because I've let you see how to build an actual functional flow, even though it didn't do anything real complex. How extensive could your main menu be? So your main menu can basically have up to 15 items. All right. So you can have 3 main menu link. Each one can have 5 sub menus. So your main menu could be up to 15 items. You could have 3 main guys, and each one you click and you get 5 more sub guys. And then from there, you could route people into actual flows that get really, really complex if you want to. But at most, you can route people into 15 different things. All right. Now, from those 15 different things, if you're going to route them all into flows, now from there, your possibilities are completely endless, because from there, you can start all your flows with some conditional checking. And with that conditional checking, you can route guys into, you know, you could have one flow where you've got, you know, first flow. Let's say you get into first flow, I go through, I ask you a bunch of probing questions, give you some, instead of letting you give me some generic ass input, I give you some buttons, some quick replies, so that you can give me specific input that I'm actually looking for, that I'm going to use to segment you. Now I go through this process, I collect, let's say 10 pieces of data from you, I have you real segmented. Now I can route you into another flow from my main menu. And then the very first thing I can do in my flow is have a whole conditional logic block that goes in and looks and sees, you know, who you are. You like dogs, you like cats, are you rich, are you poor, are you male, are you female, blah, 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 all these conditions. And based on that, I can route you into a very specific flow. So that's how complex your main menu can be. You can have up to 15 items in it.
John, which page can I see it?
Which page can you see the main menu?
No, what you just prompted out on your Facebook page.
It's it's on this page right here, but you can just click that. You can just click that link that I put inside the. You can just click that link that I put inside the chat and get that link. And yeah, let's see who's actually tagged now. So I can go in and actually look and see which one of you guys is tagged now. I see that 17 of you guys. So that I see that I got. Let's see. What is that? 8 lazy students that won't click a link. So
yeah, that's me. That's me. But I can't find it. I'm a typical Dutch blind man.
It says in the chat. I put it in the chat box for you.
In which chat box? In the demo bot?
No, in the Zoom chat box.
In the Zoom chat box. What the heck? Okay.
It's on the bottom of your screen. There should be a little chat thing that's going to flash because there's messages.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Now, I do see that. I do see, by the way, that our guest speaker has actually kind of kind of slipped into this training session here, even though he's not supposed to be here until 2 to 4. So I do see that he's kind of snuck in the back door into this training session. So he is here. So if you guys want, if any of you guys have specific questions about advertising, about Facebook advertising, he's much better equipped than me to answer those questions, because that's what he does all day, every day, is advertising. I build shit. I do software and build software and run a software company. He runs an ad agency. That's what he actually does. So if you guys have any of those ad questions that you want to ask, and you don't think you'll be able to train the training session later, by all means, if you want, go ahead and ask him now. His name is Matthew Timms, so he's hiding in here somewhere. So if you guys want to ask him anything, just feel free to go ahead and ask him anything.
Hey
Matthew, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
My name. Hey Matthew, I have a little question. You know, I also run a little agency here in Peru. I'm starting that. So which is actually the best practice to start a conversation with people that haven't engaged with your bot within the last 24 hours? I mean, if I say that people, hey, you know what? I'm giving away a 20% coupon for all you guys. What you like it? You know, that's considered a promotional message. What's considered promotional? What's not considered promotional? Like officially.
Was that for me? Sorry, I'm Matthew. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can see.
That was for you, Matthew. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a bot question for John, but I would say it's kind of the same for. I mean, it's the same no matter what platform you're marketing on, whether it's Facebook ads or bots or email sequence. If somebody's not engaged, you can, you know, it's tough to say what's promotional and what's not, but I always say lead with value. You know, if hopefully by now they know they're subscribed to your bot. So it's as easy as saying, hey, I've noticed you haven't clicked anything lately. You know, I noticed you haven't engaged in any content. Do you want to keep receiving it? You know, that's always a safe route that has worked really well for me, even with email stuff, where it's, if people know they're supposed to be getting stuff, just ask them, like, hey, you haven't clicked on anything since forever. Like, do you want to keep getting anything? You know, that's always an easy path.
And also, Sergio, not so much of a question for a marketer. So his specialties is going to be going in, and so his specialties is not even going to be in going in and getting your actual content, right, and creating your content. You don't want this guy to actually create your content. You want to get a content guru to go in and actually create your content. What's his specialty going to be? His specialty is going to be go in and actually understand from that content that you have who the hell you're trying to reach, who could be potentially buying your shit, and how to actually target them, and how to run an effective ad that will actually target them, and then how to get that ad to be successful. You know, obviously if you run some ad and that ad you have no real good CTA and you just drop somebody into a web page where there's nothing that they can do but get some content, then he's probably going to tell you, you know, hey, I can promote this shit, but whenever I promote this, what result are you really hoping to get? You're hoping to get somebody to this page and they read your shit, and then what? Then nothing, you know? So his expertise is going to be a lot more in doing that and finding out your demographic, figuring out how to target your demographic. He could, I would say, be able to look at your content and evaluate if that content matches what your target demographic is going to actually convert on. And if it doesn't, most likely what he would do is refer you and say, you need to go back to the content king and you need to get him to get some better content for this particular demographic. But he does the actual advertising, so wasn't so much of an ad question.
I got a question from Matthew, if that's okay.
Totally.
So, quick question. If you there's so many options right now in creating ads, and it seems like they add another type of option another time. What's the best campaign to run right now for interaction, especially relating to bots? What's going to be the best converter to get someone to see your ad and then take an action to get to the bot? And then my question connected to that is, can you connect, and this might be, I don't know, both of you guys, but can you connect a click on the picture to take you to the bot, or does it have to be through a comment that goes to the bot?
So I think it has to be a comment or the message call to action. But for me,
that's a question for me, so I'll let you answer yours in just a second. Matt, whenever you make your ad, all right, if you put a picture with your ad, if you have it targeted to get clicks, then when a user clicks that picture, they're clicking your link essentially. But go ahead, Matt.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I don't want to blow all my thunder before my session, but the big thing I'm thinking is like you have to know who your audience is, specifically how cold or how hot they are. If they're super hot, you could do a basic video and say, you see this a lot and it seems a little bit spammy, but it's easy to comment I'm in below if you want, whatever. If they already know you, like that's fine, that works. If they're a little bit cooler of an audience, I always try to think like what content would naturally actually get engagement. So it could be as easy as a poll or a yes, no, or a different type of kind of community call to action if you're doing, depending on what market you're in. But one thing I'm doing right now is I'm saying, hey, and this is actual truth. So you always have to be truthful, but one thing I'm doing now is I've got a video that's the second video in kind of like a video retargeting funnel. So one of them is just straight value, no links out, no nothing. And then viewers of that get another video. And I say, hey, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. You're interested in Facebook marketing, whatever. I have an ad here that's getting super cheap leads, insane conversion rates. Do you think it's one of these 4 options? And so I'm provoking engagement by saying, this ad's doing really well. I think it's one of these 4. I'm curious what the current community is thinking about that. And then I say in the post, and because I'm interested in your insights and I value it, my messenger bot will respond to you automatically and give you a chance to opt in, and I'll give you my, whatever it is. I'll give you a $49 cheat sheet for free just for contributing an answer. So it's, for me, it's it really just depends who your customers are and where they're at in relationship to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's always what's actually going to get engagement without being kind of a spammy comment I'm in type of post. So.
Yeah, one of my clients actually yesterday ran a competition on his Facebook page, and it was simply you have to love, you have to share, and you have to comment. And they had, and this is a small community. We only have 15,000 people in town, and he had 13,000 views. And he had 168 shares and loves and everything else. And so his likes went up from 800 on his page to over 1,000 just yesterday. So I think competitions definitely work well as well. And I think with him, and this is why I'm on this training, because those 168 comments should have been captured by a bot and should have been put in a sequence and a flow to segment them and use them for future broadcasts.
Yeah, totally. I think you have to be a little bit careful with contests. I don't recall exactly what Facebook's terms of services are right now, but they can be touchy about what on Facebook actions you can require to enter a contest. But yeah, so anything for sure that's going to get engagement though.
So what, Matthew, what would you say? Let's say fuck bots. Let's forget about bots and not even think about bots. All right. What would you say that the best ad is, period, on Facebook to get engagement? What would that ad be?
Yeah, so right now, kind of my go-to tactic, and I do work kind of across niches, and but one of my go-to tactics is really figuring out like what's a key objective, like a goal or desire, and creating a super helpful 2-minute video around that with no call to action, maybe a link out in the ad copy, but for sure it's like video views, just to engage them, provide value, and then retargeting them, either with more value or a lead ad or engagement for bot. But for me, it's so crowded right now where I'm kind of shying away from anything where it's the offer up front. It's either for the most part, it's always a video ad that's either like a how-to or if you're funny, you know, doing something like that. But some high value video up front and retarget views into some kind of offer after that. That's what's crushing.
So how do we do that? Let's say we start some ad, we run some video ad, we get a shit ton of views. How do we actually retarget to show our ad only to those people who have viewed a certain % of our video? How do we do that retargeting?
Yeah,
Sure.
and then please insert Jason in the video ad.
You cannot enter Jason in a video ad. You can only enter Jason in an ad that has Messenger as an ad objective. That's it. Any other ad, any other ad.
I have always have new fans because I'm in the market for brides to be, which means every year I meet a totally new group of people because the other ones have got married. So I use a lot of video ads, but I wanted to know, do you see a possibility to combine that with the bot subscribing? And if not through Jason, do you see another opportunity?
Yes, you can't use Jason. You can only use Jason in a Messenger ad objective. So if you come in here to Messenger, or if you come in here to what I like to call the money pit, okay, where Facebook takes all your money from you. So if you go in there and you create a new ad and you create some ad with only this objective. Only this objective right here, messages. This is the only objective that you can use where a JSON will be useful. And it's useful whenever you get to the second page here. So let's skip that first page. Whenever you get to the second page, you're just going to put it right in here. Okay, you're going to go right in here to set up messages. You're going to skip this, which is Facebook's little crappy GUI for their message builder. And the bad thing about this, you can build pretty much the same type of message that you're going to build in Facebook or build in ManyChat. But what you can't do is here you can't establish a post back. So here you can only establish one sequence of messages, and you can't have any of this other stuff. All right. Just like we have here, we got some other stuff here, right? So if I was to build this in Facebook, I could only get this guy right here, or I could only get this guy right here. That's all I would be able to do. If I wanted to come in and do this and say, hey, continue after next step, and continue to this guy right here and make this my starting step, I would not be able to do this in Facebook's Manager. I could only create this guy because this guy right here is known as a post bag. Because how this whole thing works is I'm going to send this guy right here, this piece of content, I'm going to send this, I'm going to hit an API on Facebook's Messenger platform. I'm going to deliver this guy. I'm going to deliver this guy with a post bag, which has this message block attached to it. Now, whenever Facebook gets this message and delivers it to my user, they're going to do what's called a postback. They're going to now hit my API and send me a response and say, hey, you know that message that I've delivered, or that you gave me to deliver, I just delivered it. That API call is completed, successful, or error, or whatever it was. Now they're also going to hand me that post back where I can say, whoop-de freaking do, thanks for giving that one. Here's the very next one I can send you. So with Facebook, you can't actually create that, all right? You can only create that next image, or you can only create that initial message, but you can't create any of those post backs to go in and have a huge flow. So that's where the JSON comes in, because you can see inside the JSON whenever we go in, and we'll go in and actually build one of those JSON ads for you action takers. You guys have spent money for ads, so that's going to be really, really useful to you. We're going to go in and we'll go in and build some of those JSON ads, and you'll see that you'll just take that JSON from ManyChat, and you'll pop them right here into this payload. But that's the only place that you can use a JSON, period, is in this one ad with messages as objective. Every other ad you can still link to your bot, but what you need to do is one of two things. You either need to come in and create a growth tool, and in that growth tool you could create Messenger ref URL. So you could create that, and you could use that as the CTA, as the link that whenever people click that link, they'll be driven in there. Or you can just add it into the, or you can just add it into the description of your of your ad. You can just add a link there. I'm sure that you could ask Matthew and he would tell you the same thing, that regardless of what your ad objective is, you will still have people that will not fulfill that ad objective. If you want to collect messages, they will like your post. If you want to get people to fill out your lead ad, they'll go in and comment. If you want people to comment, they'll go in and actually click your link. All right. So you can add this link inside the description of your ad, inside that ad content up here. All right, you could add that link in here. So if people click on that link, now they're in your bot. And here they're actually subscribed automatically. Whereas with this objective, they have another CTA. They've got 2 CTAs in this objective. They have to go in and click on your send message button or whatever you tell your button to be called. You go in and name what you want that button to be. Whatever your call to action is, they got to click that CTA. And then they are presented with that first message. And then they have to respond to that first message. Only once they respond will they actually be a subscriber and opted into your bot. With this ref URL, it's not like that. With that ref URL, as soon as they click this URL, instant subscriber. Okay, so you can link this ref URL in there, or you can go in and use this Facebook comments, and you can grab from your ads manager. You can go into your ads manager and you can find some ad that you have running, and you just go to any ad that you have running. And I'm sure that Matthew's ads manager looks much more crazy and complex than this one, because I just don't do this as a job. I don't have an awesome guy like Matthew that can do all my ads for me. But you just come in here to this ad preview and you grab this guy right here, Facebook post with comments, and you grab this post ID, and then you can go in and you can create, just like this guy has a comment growth tool on him, where if you guys go in and actually comment on this ad right here, this is an ad or a dark post, this is an ad. So this you can only ever find if you're in my demographic that I'm targeting, or if my targeted demographic has shared my ad or liked my ad, and now my ad shows up in their friend's feed. All right, that's the only way you'll ever see this. But it does have a comment growth tool on it. So if you comment on this, then you're going to now be essentially delivered a message. And if you reply to that message, you will be inside my bot as a subscriber getting my sequence now.
So what you're telling me, JSON is just an extra step. You're going to give them 2 call to actions, which might confuse the heck out of them. It's better just to create a normal chat and add that reference link in there. I mean, a normal ad and add the reference link.
Not necessarily. What I'm telling you is that JSON is only used for ads where what you are trying to do is get messages as your consideration. So you got all these ads, and I'm sure Matthew during his session could go through and tell us what the hell all these things are. Because like I see this conversion, and honestly, I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to actually track a conversion. And I'm sure if I knew how to do that, I could probably like somehow track if this audience has actually bought my shit. And if they have bought my stuff, Facebook could use their demographic and their information to filter out other people and say, hey, it seems like these type of people are really buying this stuff. I don't know how to set that up. That'd probably be really useful. So hopefully, Matt, because that's going to be one of the questions I'm going to ask you, buddy. So hopefully you're prepared to answer that, because I myself will ask you how to do that. But all these things have different objectives, right? So whatever they are, I'm not really sure what they are, but whatever these objectives are, I know one of these objectives is messages. The whole purpose of this ad is to get people to send you messages. Only this guy right here, only this objective can you use the JSON, because your whole objective is to deliver messages. So Facebook allows you to create those messages as JSON objects and just feed them those JSON objects, because then it's very easy for you to interact with their API, because even all this stuff that you can do in Ads Manager, they have APIs so that you can create your own application, and you could technically build a Facebook ad manager that's even better than Facebook, because you're just using their APIs, and Facebook really sucks on their UI and the usability and user experience of their ad manager.
So there's a good question asked in the chat, and that is, if inside messages as your objective, I'm sure obviously people know that's going to be a messenger application there, but inside any other ad, if you add your ref link, do you have to let them know that this is going to be an opt-in situation as per Facebook's terms or conditions or not?
No, but you do need to do it for you do need to do it if you're going to put a comments growth tool on it. if you do a reference link, you don't, and you can even mask that reference link behind Bitly or behind Googly or whatever little short URL that you want, and that you don't have to. But for their terms and conditions, if you're going to put a comments growth tool on it, that you should mention specifically in the ad content that comment on this post, I'll send you a message with more information, or I'll send you your free coupon, or, you know, we'll have a party, or something that says, if you comment here, expect a message from me.
Awesome. Thanks.
So I was coming through here trying to actually compile all your questions, all the questions that you guys had, so I can get ready to go over them. I don't know if you guys have any more questions for Matthew. I don't think he left. I don't think he left, and he's like, damn, they're gonna ask me all my stuff before my actual training session. But I'm sure you'll get a whole different audience during that actual training session. I'm sure a lot of these people will be there, plus a lot more, Matthew.
I have a question for Matthew.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Matthew. My focus is on small local business, and I know that the big box stores are kind of eating the lunch of the small independents. So I wondered if you had any strategies to suggest for your Facebook ads.
Yeah, so I could talk for a long time. I have a whole lot of thoughts about how the internet's playing into small local businesses, and my thought is I think Facebook ads is a part of it, and if you're doing the work, you know, you should talk to them. But the big, like, small local businesses, they need to shift their actual structure a little bit. So you need to encourage them, like, to think about event experiences, like community things that you can advertise with Facebook ads. A lot of people say do a discount ad or give something free, which is nice. But the real issue that so many small businesses are suffering because of the internet is because they're not actually pivoting and being a local business, like local first. They're just trying to sell stuff. So, like, you need to work with them to find actual events and experiences. So for local businesses, I'm doing a lot, like, get them in front of the camera, no matter how uncomfortable they are with it. Force them to get in front of the camera on video for sure. Because it's really like, you can't compete with price, which is all a discount offer does. So you just can't compete with that. So you really have to compete relationally and become some kind of community hub for whatever niche you're in, whatever your market is. So it's like I love doing a lot of local testimonial videos. I'm getting some of my local clients to do, like, interviews with other local people in the community, like Be Live, that type of stuff. And then I'm using that and linking out to some kind of offer and then retargeting to another offer. But the big thing is, like, you can't just do a Facebook ad to get a conversion anymore, because a discount isn't going to keep a customer around. So it's like you actually have to do some branding work up front, some more traditional marketing, messaging, branding stuff with your Facebook ads.
Yeah, I was gonna say that what I found is, I was getting some conversions from my Facebook ads. I was taking them to a landing page, and I know John's probably going to talk about ClickFunnels later on, and I just got very little participation. People are feeling unloved, and they're not giving away the information. For instance, if it was like a free teeth whitening or, a free massage or anything like that, they just seem reticent to share any information, and they just drop off. So I'm not sure how effective landing pages you're finding from a Facebook ad are executing.
Landing pages, there's so many other variables in there as well. Have you tried any lead ads?
No.
I worked with a local gym this past week and was getting them leads between $1 and $2. Yes, it was a Black Friday type of offer, but it was getting people signing up and registering to be called on that Friday. And it was people signing up between $1 and $2. Some hot audience, some completely brand new. They were signing up to be called on the Black Friday offer, $1 to $2. And I think we only spent like $70 on ads, and they got like $2,500 in sales that one day. So it's like, try to lead ads. It's a much smoother experience than a landing page is right now.
Okay.
I have a question on it, Matthew.
Yep.
So I did one myself, a promotion, a giveaway promotion. And from that promotion, the goal of when people left a comment on the promotion, they actually got a message from my bot, and they were giving a 3-question survey. Like, what's your name? What's the item you want to fix? I have a fixing company. And is it the first time you're actually breaking it? So after the data I received from them, it's almost the same the data that the bot gives me, it's almost the same as a lead that I can put on Facebook, right? I mean, when you put a lead on Facebook, you can get also the same data as the questions that a bot can do. So I find that much cheaper than that. What's your opinion about that?
This is a terrible answer, but it totally depends. You know, if contest ads are, if it's comment below and we're gonna ask you a few questions via Messenger, cool. That's definitely a strategic approach you can take. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I would say is at some point you should try to get some non-Facebook connection to them. Get their email, get a phone number.
Yeah, that's why the bots the bot asks what their data is. So I'm kind of feeling the same information as the lead is expected to give me, and that's for a much lower price. I had like an interaction cost of $0.07 for each one instead of $1 each one. So do you think that's a much cheaper approach to customers? It's the best way, or it's just different?
I mean, there's never a best way, but like if everything in your ad fits your store and you're getting quality customers and they're super cheap, like absolutely you should do that.
All right.
So, Matt, hopefully, I'll try to get you a transcript of the chats that are going on here, because I see that there's just an obnoxious amount of questions that people want to know. I told you that these guys are going to be really interested in this ads, because, honestly, guys, our bots, and I could teach you how to build a badass bot. I can teach you how to build a really cool bot, but that bot is literally nothing if we don't get traffic to it. So if we don't get users into our bot and engage with our bot, then it makes no sense for us to build it in the first place. So somehow we need to actually figure out how to do that. So you guys don't know yet because I haven't told you, but I've been doing these pre-training sessions for the last 10 days. We've done like 40 hours worth of pre-training. I'm gonna give you guys a really low value, a low cost offer that will allow you guys to continue those pre-training sessions Monday through Friday outside of these Saturday training sessions. And we're going to have lots of these training sessions over the course of December. And a lot of you guys are action takers. You get one-on-one time with me. You get an hour worth of one-on-one time with me where you can get any of your questions answered in a one-on-one setting. We can do stuff one-on-one. So by all means, if you guys have any ad specific questions why Matthew's here, I would definitely suggest you spend your time with him, because I will make myself accessible. If you guys haven't realized that already, I will make myself more than accessible to you guys, so that if you have questions and we don't get them answered on this session, we will get them answered on some session, or even in between this training session. I guarantee you there'll be another 50 hours worth of my personal time that I will make available to you guys on Monday through Friday outside of these Saturday training sessions, where we can answer all those questions. So if you have any questions whatsoever that you want to go that you want to ask of Matthew until he just decides to leave and says, this is too much work. I'm not coming back until my actual training session. Then I would definitely suggest you just query him because he's the ad expert, not me. I'm a software guy, guys.
Yeah, cool. So I'll be here for probably I can stay on for 10 more minutes if anybody's got quick questions, and then I've got to do a couple of things, and then I'll be back on in an hour or two. So if anybody has some quick questions now, let's do those, and then I've got to jump off for a few minutes.
Matthew, can you let us know what you'll be covering when you come back, just so we're prepared with questions related to what you're going to cover, or are you just going to keep it open floor?
At this rate, I'm thinking keeping it open floor. I'm seeing a kind of a wide range of questions in the chat. So, I'll probably keep it open floor. You guys are great question askers, and I do better that way. But otherwise, I'll kind of walk through a few campaigns I'm doing now, specifically things that are related to bot or things that aren't. But I like open floor stuff, and then I can just show you stuff I'm working on that's applicable.
All right, that'd be awesome. It would really help to be able to see you walk through the ad creation and how you'd integrate the bot with it. So if that could be part of what you're doing, really appreciate it.
Totally. Just one giant disclaimer. I'm not a uber techie person. So if you're trying to ask me a lot of those types of questions.
I am. Don't worry about it. I got you covered there, man.
I'll send some. Yeah, John will do that. But if you're like wanting results, that's my thing. So I get results, and I let other people stay on top of all the micro details. So, cool. Any other questions immediately?
Do you have a top idea on how to do fan ad? I don't know what that means, but that's the question. How to combine leads from Facebook ads?
So get page likes. I'm terrible at that because I never do it. I'm 100% just trying to get people like results, opting in some other kind of engagement. And then if you want to manually go back and invite every person that's engaged in your post to like the page, cool, go for that. I do that time to time. But that's really not the metric I'm after unless it's a brand new page with absolutely nothing. Then I'll do the same thing though. It'll just be a value add. Lead with value, some kind of valuable, entertaining video, quick highlight, like our page because we're local or whatever it is. But I would encourage you, that's not usually like the key metric I'm after ever. So.
Hey, Matthew, do you ever, any of your copy, do you ever do any storytelling? Do you have any like narrative kind of strategies where you kind of get people to buy in and hence, are willing to move forward through that engagement?
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you one of the ads that I just started and it's getting some good engagement. It's that one I told you about or mentioned a few minutes ago, where it's a video of me walking through an ad that was getting like a little over $1 lead, 70% conversion on the landing page. And I said, hey, this ad is performing great. I'm curious to know which of these options you think is the biggest factor. And then I do, like every ad should have some story, but my story in that one is I do so much client work, so much coaching work, that type of stuff where sometimes I feel disconnected from what the greater marketing community thinks. So I'd love to hear what you're thinking. And I say, look, I know you're going to say it's multiples. I get it. I'm just curious what you think is most important because I'm trying to stay connected. So there's always got to be a story in there somewhere.
Yeah. Do you use comedy a lot or no?
I don't, because that's usually not me in this type of environment. That's usually not me, and most of my clients, it's not them either, because I'm just trying to get them on video for one, let alone try to get them to crack jokes. But there is, I'd say it really just depends who it is.
Yeah, it's not really jokes. I guess I'm thinking like I've got a couple of niches. Vacuum cleaners and tire sales. So we've got a couple of things that maybe don't have a lot of enthusiasm inherent in the product set. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to get people noticing the differences.
Yeah, so this is a very soft plug because it's not ready at all, but I'm working on a training to move people from, Facebook ads people, move them away from just a conversion mindset and into a marketing and branding mindset. Because like you said, and like I said before, like you can't stick out in a market anymore with just a conversion ad. So, finding a humorous way to talk about vacuum cleaners, you can be punny. I mean, short answer, yes. If you've got the creative mind for it, like absolutely. Do vacuum dances or tell, situational ironies of, if you're targeting the stay-at-home mom, get a mom with a baby and do a quick video of vacuum falling apart while she's holding her baby and the house is a mess. Kind of that type of stuff in a humorous way if you have the people. But yeah, anything creative or, I always like to go to YouTube thinking, I always go back to stuff like there's a What's Inside channel or old school Will It Blend or the slow-mo guys. Like those are all super creative other ways that you could get attention for vacuum cleaners. That doesn't involve a discount or whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
I think you're ready to go, right, Matt?
Yeah, I got to jump off here for a few minutes. I'll probably still be logged in, but I'll chime in when I'm back on.
So thanks for sneaking in, man. I appreciate that. I figured you'd probably do that before your session. But like I said, guys, he's coming. His whole session is this session right here. It's 2 to 4 p.m. That's his whole session. Literally the only speaking you guys are going to hear from me on that session is I'm going to introduce him. And then I'm going to probably ask him a couple questions myself that I have concerning advertising, because I'm not an ads expert. And it's, I mean, as the CEO of the company, that role falls on me as well, because I hire only engineers and we only have engineers that work at our company. So the only person that could do the marketing stuff is me. Or I could hire somebody else. So I like to do stuff on my own first and understand it before. I don't like to hire people to do stuff for me if I don't understand how to do it myself, because then I can't keep tabs and know if they're doing the right thing, or if they're if they're jerking me off, or if they're actually doing their job. So I like to understand what's going on. So I'm going to ask him some questions myself. Other than that, it's going to be it's going to be just his complete time. So I'm going to go through real quick and answer some of these questions that you guys have given, and then I'll open the floor up to you guys. And then if I don't have anything coming from you guys, I'll probably go in and build a couple flows out that will be useful to this training. So Richard, you asked how extensive should your main menu be. So I want you guys to keep in mind that I am not a marketer. I am not a content writer. I am an engineer. So people come to me when they have problems and they need a genius level person to figure out what the solution for that problem is at a really high level, and then break that down to a really low level and give it out to a team of engineers that are able to effectively take my direction and at a lower cost than what I value my time, go in and execute those results. So I do core engineering. All right. If you want to ask me, how could I take a spaceship and put into orbit around the moon, then we could go in and actually have a conversation, and I could begin to go in and show you all the equations and all the things that are going to be involved in actually doing that. Okay. If you want to build some complex system, I can easily talk on that. But I also wear a lot of different hats in my company, because like I said, I'm the founder, I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, and I only hire engineers. Literally everyone that works for me has a degree in engineering, and set for my HR and the guy that goes and gets my coffee for me. So other than that, every single person here has a degree in engineering. So like I said, if something needs to happen for our company, for me to hire a resource to do that, I don't blindly hire a resource to do that. I want to make sure that I understand how to do those things, so that I can make sure that, at least to some level, so that I can make sure that that person is doing what they need to do. And whenever I can understand them when they talk, So from my perspective, your main menu should be as simple as possible. It should route users to your most common use flows. It should route users to your biggest call to actions, and it should give them the information that they need to be able to successfully interact with your bot. Okay. Does it need to be the most complex thing? No, because if you go in and add a whole bunch of complexity to it, then is that really actually helping your users? So Matthew said this, I'll say it. I think some of the greatest minds in the world will say it, is give value and only that. Don't give a bunch of bullshit. If you have something of real high value and you surround it by a bunch of bullshit, you just created something that's real high value that's perceived at a really, really low value. So even if you have something at a low value, if you can remove all the bullshit around of it and just give the value thing, even that low value piece of thing begins to be perceived at a higher level of value because there's no conceptual bullshit. And everybody on the internet does that. Everybody on the internet says, hey, here's some value. Let's wrap it in a couple layers of bullshit and let's give it to you. So just remove that bullshit. Whatever is in that menu that is not actually necessary, that you really don't actually need, don't have it in there. Give in that menu. What do you want a user to do? What do you need from the user? What are the most common things that they're actually going to want to do? Put those things in your menu, only those things. Now, what are those things? Well, if I could just give you a list of things, what those things were, then I would definitely, trust me, we'd be doing that right now. Here comes the list. To know those things, obviously, we need to know a little bit about you, what your business is doing, what you're actually trying to accomplish, what you want your users to do, what are they doing all the time. So once we figure that out, then we can tell you exactly what those things are. But who best would know that other than yourself? I mean, you must be the expert in your own level of business and what you're doing and what your users are doing. So that only you guys can find out, right? Or we can find out together, spending a little bit of time together. So how extensive should your menu be? Only as extensive as necessary, okay? That's it. Only as extensive as necessary. Only put in the stuff that you need and make sure that the stuff that you need is in there, okay? If you find that every one of your clients that you sell, they need to talk to you on the phone, I would say your menu item should have some quick way for them to get in contact with you on the phone. All right. If the majority come from your sales, come from collecting somebody's email and then sending them out some email sequence and then getting them to convert through some email, I would say that somewhere in that menu, you need a way to get them into a flow where you're going to do what you traditionally do, which is offer them something of value in exchange for that email address so you can start your marketing sequence to them. So only put in your menu the things that are actually necessary to go in your menu and just that. But it could be, like I said earlier, it can be up to 3 menu items, up to 5 sub menu items. So it can be up to actually 15 calls to action is how extensive it could be. Is that overkill? Most likely, yeah. Most likely that's overkill. I would say most likely it's overkill. So, would you say that's answered question, Richard? Or do you want me to spend more time? If you want me to spend more time, just drop it in the comments again, and then I'll answer it again. So, Joe, this is you, right? Joe, even though it shows Sherry. So I've talked to you a couple times, Joe, and you got a lot of cool stuff going on. I really like what you're doing. So you said how to build a sales funnel using ManyChat to promote, sell an online membership site. So my bot already inside my demo bot, I already have a kind of like a membership site inside my demo bot where I have premium content in my demo bot. And the only way that content can be delivered to you is if you pay me a nominal amount of money, which is what typically most membership sites do. They collect a nominal arbitrage fee. And for that monthly fee, they deliver you some access to premium content that other people can't have. So that we can totally build, but how to build out the sales funnel. So that also would not be a specific question for me. So by the time you would, typically how we would work is by the time you have the infrastructure and the architecture and the flow and diagram and content of the actual funnel, then you hand that off to me. We go in, we build that stuff out for you. Okay. But typically, what should be the steps of your funnel? Typically, some marketing guy is going to tell you that. He's going to figure out on your demographics. But if we spent enough time, like I said, marketing isn't rocket science. And it's, to me, if you spend enough time, listen to people, you find the generic trends, and then you can understand, oh, this is what marketing is. This is what we need to do. We need to actually give some value. We need to figure out how we can solve some pain point for our target audience, or provide some entertainment, or provide something of value that they're actually enjoying. So we need to go in and actually do that. So how to build out your how to promote, that's also not that's also not so much of a bot question, but how can we promote inside the bot? Well, we have several ways to promote inside the bot. We can go in and send out broadcasts, right? In those broadcasts, we can send out either directly our promotional material, or some quasi non-promotional material that is a lead in to our promotional material, right? I want to sell some cookies, so you haven't interacted with me for 24 hours. So I could just be like, hey, you like chocolate chip cookies or you like peanut butter cookies? Which ones do you really like? Because I myself love peanut butter cookies. Which ones do you like? I got a recipe for the best cookies in the world. You like peanut butter, chocolate chip. Now, I sell peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies both. So as soon as you say, hey, I like peanut butter, I'm going to be like, great, here's how you can make these peanut butter cookies. They're real tasty. Here's a recipe. But if you're a lazy ass like me and you would rather just pay somebody for their time to make the cookies instead of make them yourself, guess what? I got a great sale on them. They're, some $7 for a dozen of them. Order them right here and now. So that's it. That's your lead in, obviously. Now, was that promotional? No, that wasn't promotional at all. I literally just asked you, do you like chocolate chip cookies or do you like peanut butter cookies? Now, I've taken that information, and then as soon as you've given me that information, I've led in with my promotion. So that I can do all the time. I can have some keywords, right? I can have some keywords set up. I can have some cookie keywords set up. And whenever you type cookies, I can be like, yeah, we got cookies. We got lots of cookies. All we do is sell cookies. Here's a bunch of cookies. You want to buy these cookies? What about those cookies? Want to buy those cookies? All right. So that we can do as well, because if somebody gives us a keyword, obviously they've interacted with our bot. So I'm free game to, one, I can't send a promotional broadcast out to directly promote my content or promote an offer or ask for an opt-in or ask for a sale if a user hasn't interacted with my bot within 24 hours. But everything else is fair game, meaning if they click my link, promotion. If they give me a keyword, promotion. If they interact with my bot and say, hey, what's up, John? Promotion. Any interaction they do with my bot can trigger a direct promotion. But if they have not interacted with my bot within 24 hours, I can't start off a conversation. I can't initiate a conversation saying, hey, buy this from me. I could go in and say, hey, how are you today? I could go in and say, hey, did you catch that Jets game yesterday? Because I realize you're a guy and I've got you segmented that you like football and particularly you like the Jets. And I just got some notification through some automation that I have that the Jets just won yesterday. So I could be like, did you catch that game? And you could be like, yeah. And I could be like, awesome. I got signed autographs of footballs on sale for $900 or whatever. You want one? So I could go ahead and deliver my promotional content right after that. So how to promote, those are all the different ways that we can promote. Obviously, I mean, promotion is just sending out content. So the bot is really intuitive in being able to send out our content. How to build the sales funnel? Well, first, to figure that out, Joe, we need to have a conversation about what you're trying to achieve so we can engineer the actual funnel, what should be the steps of the funnel. If you have that thing already, if you've got the funnel laid out, well, you just share that and then I'll show you exactly how to build it. We'll build it live on the training session. So if you've already got the funnel laid out, then you just can provide that. You can just drop a link to the file in the chat and we just build that live on the chat. So, so is this answered, Joe, or should we come back and revisit this later on? So, Lewis, you said that you think of all the big things that are above your pay grade right now as being able to ask the right questions to segment the crowd and then broadcast appropriately, specifically when it comes to the fill in the blank questions. No, can't hear you, Joe, by the way.
Yeah, the fill in the blank is really, that I don't know if it's JavaScript or what it is, but when you use those double brackets in order to use I hate first name or those data points, capturing that data points and using it appropriately, that's definitely what I'm struggling with. To
Okay,
figure out.
so this is really easy to show you this, okay? This is really easy to show you this, but these data points in here, all right? These data points in here, for example, let's edit this guy, and I'm going to try to continuously edit this guy. I'm going to continuously try to actually edit this guy during the training to make it more mutative and more indicative to some of the stuff that we're actually doing, even though I'm going to send it to you guys all out. Like I'm going to add in some call to actions where you guys can leave me a review on my Facebook page, or, give me some video testimonial, short video testimonial of what your honest opinion. I don't want you guys to bullshit me. I just want you to give me an honest opinion of how you like these classes and if they've actually benefited you. But it's pretty straightforward. So you just go in, if you want to use any of those values, you just go in and grab that value and then you just stick it in there. So now that's done. You just go in, if you want to reference some value that they've given you, then you just go in and reference that guy. So you just go in and pop them in. That's what you're talking about, is how do you actually use these guys?
Yeah, I guess it's, application probably. I just need to spend more time and seeing what those data points are and how to, effectively use
Well, just so
them
you know,
in the
those data
box.
points are just their first name, last name, and full name. Those are the only data points that you get. Other than that, the only data points there are data points that you create. Any other data point that you want is a data point that you have to go in and create, and then you have to collect and you have to populate. So the only data points you have is what the dude's name is. Other than that, any other data point that you want, that data point is a data point that you need to go in and create as a custom field, and somehow through a question or through them clicking on a button or them actually making it into a flow or you delivering some content to them, you go in and actually populate that. You go in and actually populate that. You go in and populate that field. Like, for example, maybe some of you guys have seen that even though this is free training, I've got a lot of really high value offers that are really low cost that you guys can take advantage of them. One of those offers literally gave you access to two super powerful softwares that are built by my company that literally have a value of, let's say, one we charge $297 per month for that plan, and the other one we charge $149 per month for that plan. So we've got some, what is that? We've got some $450. You know what I offered it to you at? $25 a month is what I offered you at. I mean, you're crazy if you didn't take advantage of the offer. But guess what? Every time I offered you that, I incremented a custom field by 1. And if I've offered you that 3 times, guess what? I'm not going to give it to you for $25 anymore. Now you can pay full price. And if you don't want to pay full price, well, guess what? You should have been an action taker. You should have taken the offer the first 3 times I gave it to you. So those fields you can populate at any time. You can just have some action. And in that action, you can go in and you can just start a flow off and say, okay, I want to add some data to this field, or I want to populate some data in this field. Or you're going to have some quick reply in here, and in this quick reply, whenever somebody answers or mashes this quick reply, then you're going to go in and put some data in that custom field, or set it to true or false, or populate it, or you're going to go in and make some user input. And thank you so much. You're going to make some user input, and you're going to take whatever data somebody gives you here, and you're going to stuff it into that custom field so that you can reference it later. So like I said, the only custom fields that you get, the only data that you get are first name, last name, full name, and data that you yourself have went in and collected from the user.
So is there any way, I love what you just told about with your offers that you offered 3 times and then the offer disappeared. Is there any way you could show us that flow and how you set that up? Because I think that's something that's very valuable. So people know that there's, hey, you're going to hit this a few times and then you don't have to bother the same over and over and over.
There is a way, yes. But that way would require me to go in and actually, I
it's okay if you can't.
I can. I just don't remember. I don't remember exactly where that flow is at. So that flow, I think it's somewhere when you guys actually join the training. then after you join the training somewhere, then, well, it's definitely not there. So it's actually whenever you guys go in, and maybe if I look, maybe it's on one of these actually growth tools on the website. It's somewhere where you guys go in and actually, when you first go through a flow to join training, then I go in and offer you an offer, and then somewhere in that flow. But I'll go in and find it and make it available to you. But to show you how to do it, it's pretty straightforward. So let's just make a content called limit offer. Okay. So let's go to our flow builder. This is your best friend. This is the only way that you ever want to do anything. If you're not building content out with this tool right here, you need to stop what you're doing, stop wasting your time using that other builder. You need to spend some time to learn this thing, because it will exponentially save you a lot of time and just building out your content flows and visualizing your content flows so that you can go in and visually see how a user would walk through them. What are the different routes, fill in gaps, modify them. So you definitely want to be using this tool right here. So let's say I can just go in here and I can start in here and say, hey, so let's make it beneficial to you guys. So let's do a little bit of more advanced things instead of just making a real simple thing. Let's start off with our condition, because one of you guys had asked me about stopping the bot whenever a user's interacting with you and is having a live chat with you, how to stop the bot. Now that's supposed to stop automatically if you were to actually do this. So it's supposed to stop automatically if you add an action and you open a conversation. If you open a conversation, that is technically, according to ManyChat, supposed to stop the bot's interaction with your user until you close that conversation. But we could go in and actually prove that on this training session or on another training session. We could go in and show that most of the time does not actually work. So what is a workaround for that? Remember, you can start your flow with anything that you want. So any element that you want, you could start your flow. So you could have, how you could solve that is you could start your flow with the condition, and you can go in and check some tag and say, if some tag needs attention, this is a tag that whenever a user triggers out a default reply in my bot, if I were to actually look there and go in and see that somebody has came in here and they've triggered my default reply, then somewhere in here, I trigger them that they need attention. See, I add a tag that this person needs my physical attention. So I can go in and easily find them and see, okay, who are all the people that need my attention today because my bot's too stupid. Now, for me, luckily, I've got a process in my bot to make my bot smarter. If you guys are willing to participate, you guys can go in, and when my bot doesn't understand anything, you guys can literally train my bot how to get smarter and how to be able to deal with things that he couldn't previously understand.
Nice.
So until that happens, that's what this flow does here. Until that happens, I'm going to tag you that you need attention. Okay. So now if I wanted to make sure for a fact that, that my bot did not interact with you if you are having a live dialogue and I need to have a live dialogue with you, I could just come in here and I can say, hey, if this tag, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the reverse here. And I'll just tell you the only reason that I do that is because I'm a little bit OCD and I'm a little bit anal. And if I were to see this right here, where I were to see these two paths crossing right here and making this point intersect, I don't like that. And it just, like, the whole time I'm building something, that's going to bug me. And I'm either going to be wanting to do this over here and this up here. And I don't need that like that. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm not saying that you guys have to do that, because sometimes it gets a little bit hard to understand reverse logic. And what I'm going to do is actually reverse this logical condition up. So I'm going to say, if the tag is not needs attention, meaning this person is not tagged that they need attention, I'm going to do this. If they are tagged that they need attention, meaning if they aren't tagged that they need attention is false, it means that they are tagged that they do need attention, then I could just come in here and route them to this flow, and I could go in and open up a conversation. I could notify an admin, and then I could go in and add another arbitrary tag here that they need attention, but I don't need to do that. The only reason I'd add that arbitrary tag is if I didn't want to open a conversation and I didn't want to notify admins and I need an ending point here. Since I need an ending point, I can always end in an action that is an arbitrary action. So I can use that. Like I even have a tag called arbitrary tag that I will use whenever a condition isn't met and I don't actually want to do anything, but I have to do something because I can't have a dead end here. If I were to have this dead end here and put some content in here, if I were to put that content and try to publish this, they're going to tell me, hey, this thing needs to be linked to somebody. But I don't want to do anything at all. Well, I can't have a blank message, so I can go in and route an action. And at this point, I can create an arbitrary action, say, tag this guy with arbitrary tag, so that I can end this process and physically not do anything that my user will know about, but still conform to their rules that they have in here. So this is one thing that you could do to answer that question. This will assure you, as long as you take appropriate action, that whenever somebody is engaging with your bot, that you've tagged them that they need attention. Now you could go into all your keywords, right? Because the keywords are technically really, for the most part, the only thing that's really going to trigger the bot. Everything else is some growth tool that you've used externally. And most likely, if these guys are having a messenger conversation with your bot, they're not out there interacting with your growth tools and stuff, because typically they're just going to do that once to get inside your bot. So now in all your keywords, you can start your keyword with this condition. And you can say, hey, if this guy is not tagged that he needs attention, so then I want to do this. Since he doesn't need attention, I want to deliver him the content of this keyword. But if he does need attention, if he's tagged that he does need attention, then I'm just going to open up a conversation and I'm going to notify admins so that I get a notification that I need to go in and talk to this guy. Now my bot's not engaging with him anymore, right? My bot's not answering. He's asked me some question, and now he's asked me another question that's triggered a keyword. Let's say he's asked a question that's triggered a keyword. He didn't understand that content that I gave him, so he's asked me a question, right? And then now I didn't understand that question, so I've flagged him that he needs attention because I don't know what he's saying, and now we need to have this live conversation, and now I haven't had that live conversation, so he asked me another question that includes the same keyword that triggered the first keyword that triggered his response where he needed attention, right? Now he's going to begin to get upset because he's like, you know what? I've already asked you that question. You gave me that content. I clearly told you I didn't understand that shit. So I asked you again in a different way. You gave me the same exact content. He's going to start to get upset. So something like this. So we can do something like this. All right. We're not going to do that though. We're not going to do that because we're not making that flow. What we're making is we are making a flow that basically says, in here, we don't want to look at a tag. We want to look at something that says offers delivered, offered free one-on-one, probably not that. I'm really not sure what tag that I use, but we'll just use, let's say, this coupon. We'll use this coupons delivered, okay? So we've got this coupons delivered here. All right, so this is a number. So I can check to see, is this number greater than 2? All right. Or I could use greater than or equal to 3, whatever makes it logical for you to understand. If you use greater than, then you always want to take 1 minus your target. So if you want to check and see, hey, I only want to offer this to this guy 3 times, then if you're going to use greater than, you need to use a value of 2. All right. If you want to use greater than or equal to, then at that point you can use 3. Because if you use greater than and you put it equal to 3, then depending on how you initialize that variable, which most likely in ManyChat is going to be initialized as 0, and then you're going to augment 1, you're going to add 1 to it so that your flow every time you're adding 1, as you're going to see, then you're technically going to offer it to this guy 4 times. And I only want to give you this offer 3 times, because if you won't take my offer in 3 times, then why am I going to keep offering you the same thing? I'm offering it to you at a deal to get you to take action. So if you ain't going to take action in those 3 times, then it means nothing to me it means nothing to me or you if I, for the rest of your life, give you that exact same offer, right? And constantly give it to you because you don't see any value there. I need to create some urgency, right? So I should probably tell you something like, hey, I'm only going to ever offer you this 3 times. If you don't take action in those 3 times, you'll never be able to get this offer, even if you beg me. Okay, maybe if you beg me. Because if you beg me, obviously, I'll just give you the offer, no problem there. So now I'm going to lead in and actually deliver you some offer here. All right, so if not, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, hey, so I'm just going to go in and tell you that, hey, I'm going to give you this thing. I'm going to give you this thing at a higher price than what I initially offered you, but it's still a discount than what you're typically going to have to pay, because I like you guys, because you guys, you know why I really like you guys? Because you guys are not engineers like me, and you guys are literally out there busting your ass trying to learn this platform and trying to learn how to build a high-tech item on your own. And that's really cool. I like to see people that want to learn and that are really enthusiastic about getting knowledge, because in my opinion, the one key to all the universe is knowledge itself, the acquisition of knowledge. To me, that is God. God itself is knowledge. If there is a God, then the reason that God is God is because he has a higher level of understanding and knowledge than we do. So everything is knowledge. So to go in and actually acquire that knowledge, then that's great. So now we've got this right. I only want to, if I've delivered you a coupon less than 3 times, now obviously I would probably want to go in and just do something here, which is going to be just go in here and actually, to make this correct, I could just go in and open a link in a new tab and go into my settings and go into my custom fields. I'll create a new custom field, and I'll just call it offer attempts, how many times I'm going to attempt to give you this offer, and that's going to be a number, and I'll give a description, how many times I've attempted to save you a bunch of money. Like I said, I'm not a great speller, so don't hold that against me. So now I've got that custom field, so now I can make this a little bit more proper, and I can just come in here and I can change this guy into offer attempts is greater than 3. So I'm not going to do greater than 3. I'm going to do lesser than 2. So, or I'm going to do lesser than 3, right? If offer attempts is lesser than 3, actually I'm going to do 0, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I'll do 3. If offer attempts is lesser than 3, because if it's lesser than 3, then I'll give you this offer. If it's not lesser than 3, then I'm just going to say, hey, I've given this for you already. So here's the training session. Just so you know, here's the training schedule right here. The training schedule is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So this training session is going to end in about 30 minutes. Our next training session is going to be from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Then our next training session will be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's when Matt's full session is. So that's when Matt's coming back to have a full 2-hour session with you guys. It's literally only going to be him doing the session. I'll be there just as an observer, because just like you guys, I want to learn a bunch of stuff about Facebook advertising so that I can get new leads into my business, and I can get new leads into my company, and I can get brand awareness for my company, because I'm not an ads expert. So I want to listen to this ad expert, and I want to ask him some questions on things that I'm struggling with ads. So I'll be there as well, but it's his session. He's got 2 hours for you guys, anything you want about ads. Then we got another session from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., another session from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So now going back over here, I'm going to go in and deliver this. And here at this point, what I want to do is I want to drop in some offer, and here I have learned that some of the marketers have said that this is a really good way to inspire people to give you money, is to show like a family picture, to show some positive interaction. And I think this is great. Positive interaction, me and my kids, so you can see, you can relate. Maybe you got some kids and maybe, they love you and want to kiss you and stuff. And maybe now you're like, yeah, this dude's a human just like me, so I'll give him some money. So that's enough of my content. All right, so I'll give you some button where you can go in and give me some money here. I'm not a content writer neither, and we're just writing some arbitrary content here. So let's say here, what I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to route you into a flow, and I'm just doing this only because, and actually I'm not going to route you into a flow right there. Well, I am, but then I'm going to add something there. The only reason that I'm doing this instead of giving you an offer is because, Joe, I'm pretty sure you asked one of these questions earlier. I don't have a photographic memory, but I believe I saw a question from you is how to send somebody to another flow inside a flow. So I'm going to send you to this flow. This flow will actually eventually deliver you that offer. And then here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that little line. I'm going to add an action group. I'm going to add an action. That action is going to be set a subscriber custom field. I'm going to go in and set a subscriber custom field. That custom field is going to be offer attempts, and I'm going to go in and increase that number by 1 value. So now I'm going to do that. Now this is going to happen. Now, literally what will happen is I can route you somehow into this flow called limit offer. At any time in any other flow, I can be like, hey, you want to give me some money? Great. Route you right into limit offer, just like I routed you into this flow right here. So now I can route you into limit offer. And then actually probably here, what I would do is I would probably just go ahead and get rid of this. Well, not get rid of that. What I would probably do is I would take this guy, get rid of that, and get rid of that. And I would get rid of this right here. And then I would actually route that guy there, route that guy there, and then go in and route that guy right there. So now essentially that's the same thing, but I'm increasing that value of offer attempts before I actually give you the offer. So now once I actually go in and give you the offer, I've already incremented this field. So now that's exactly how a flow like that would look. Now, all your content would obviously be different, but what are the main things that you need to know? One, you can hold down the shift key and you can select all this guy and you can hit Control C, and then you can hit Control V and make a whole bunch of copies of this stuff if you want to. You can select it all and delete it all if you want to. But now the main key that you should actually understand is just these guys right here. This is what you should expect to have in your offers if you want to be able to do something like that, which is limit the amount of times that you can give somebody an offer. You should be able to have 3 prerequisites. You need to have some custom field, some custom piece of data where you are storing how many times that you have delivered this person an offer, so that you can have a conditional check to check what the value is of that against the number of attempts that you will allow for that offer to be attempted before you tell somebody they no longer can have the offer. All right. So you definitely need that custom field to hold that data. You definitely need this conditional check to check the condition. And then you need obviously some action where you're going in and you're incrementing that value every time you go in and give them that offer, so that now at some point they will go in and get this. All right. So now I can come in here, see my little demo bot there. I can preview this guy and I can see, hey, here's a give money, right? Number 1, I can preview again and see, hey, here's a give money. That's 2 give money guys that I've asked you for money. Now here's a 3. That's 3 give monies that I've asked you for. Now here, there is no give money anymore. I mean, there is a give money, but this one would be give more money, even more money than what you had to give before, because I'm limiting how many times I give you that offer. So that's exactly how that works. So you can see that that's not really complex at all. That's a pretty simple mechanism that we have right there. It's just these two little guys, and these two little guys reference this offer attempts, which is another little guy or girl or transgender, however you want to reference this object. I like to call them guys just because I relate better to guys because I'm a guy. Not that I discriminate against girls or transgenders, because I don't. But these objects right here, you need these three physical objects to make this thing work. So as long as you have that. So how am I triggering this message? I'm just hitting this preview button. So I'm just hitting that preview button, and whenever I hit that preview button, it comes out to my messenger. It just sends it out to my messenger whenever I hit preview. So I'm going to assume, does that answer your question on, you wanted to see that? You wanted to see how I did that? The previews button is right up here. He's right up here. You can only see that preview button when you're in edit mode. So if you're over here where you're not in edit mode, then you can't preview that button. So the big difference between your different modes is, if you look here, I'm not in edit mode, so I can't edit this guy. But what I can do is I can click on any one of these guys, and you see what I can do here. I can go in and look at this guy, and I can see all the information. This was sent to 33 people. I can see what the message is, how many people it was delivered by, how many people it was opened by, how many people actually clicked on it. And
are those metrics tracked by ManyChat by themselves? Is that just something that ManyChat does?
That's awesome. That's totally tracked by ManyChat. I can click on this guy right here, and I can see all the people who this has actually been delivered to. I think that I can click on that right there, and I can see the 18 people who actually clicked on it. I can go ahead and tag these people with a particular tag if I want to. I can do that on any of this. I can see the 196 people that this has been sent to. I can see the 0% that was clicked, because here I'm not getting any clicks, but I can see the 127 answers that were here. See? Here's all the actual answers that were given there. So that's something I can do. This is all something that I'm doing on the screen. That's not the edit screen. Okay. So you can see, I can see all those demographics. I can go in and get those answers quickly there. I can see those statistics. Now, once I go in and click edit this, now I can click on these and physically edit this thing. And then if you look over here, since I know somewhere over in this area is like a preview of a really, really handsome guy over there. Here is this preview button. If you click on this preview button, what's going to happen is it is going to send that out to Messenger. So that's what happens whenever you hit that preview button, is it sends that out to Messenger. It's right there.
So in other words, if you disable it and then you go back in editing, would that be a way to say, man, for some reason this one point is not converting the way that I want to? Maybe I need to change my text. And then, or would you, what would you do if you see that there's a spot where it's just not converting the way you want to? Would you recreate the whole flow, or just edit that one block?
Shit, I don't know there, because that's like a marketing question there. But yeah, I'd probably go edit that one block. But one thing that I can tell you, and I want to make sure that you guys understand, is that if you go in and edit this guy, it will work fine for everyone else that receives this message in the future. So if I were to go in, let's say I send this out to all of you guys, which I could do. Literally just the other day in training, I showed you guys how to do something really cool, which is send out a broadcast that is a ghost broadcast that nobody knows about at all, that you can use to go in and populate a massive data sheet of all your subscribers, and they never even know that you did it, but you've just literally collected all their information, dumped into a spreadsheet, so you can use it for a bunch of other cool stuff. And maybe I'll show you guys that in another training session, but you can always watch the replay and find it. But if I was to broadcast this out, to all of you guys, right? And then after I broadcasted this out to all of you guys, I was to go in and do something like this, where I grab these guys right here, and then I delete these guys right here, and then I do something that's going to drive me, really going to drive me crazy, which would be take this guy and route him in there. and take this guy and route them in there and make that little cross. Now, if I were to do that and publish this, once I do this and publish this, whenever you guys click yes, you guys will still be routed here. Whenever you guys click no, you guys will still be routed here. In order to be routed here whenever you click yes, you will have to get this message redelivered to you. Because like I told you before, how all of this works is, if you're an engineer, it's much easier to understand. But how all this works is by hitting an edge, hitting an API on Facebook. What Facebook allows us to do is give them a message with X amount of content, okay? Now, when we deliver that message with X amount of content, we can have little call to actions, which are these little guys right here, okay? We can have another call to action, which is automatically continue. And all these call to actions, what they do is they contain a payload with them. Now, whenever those call to actions are hit, Facebook will deliver us a payload. Now, if we have this automatically continue, then literally what we do if we have this automatically continue is with our first message, we just give back a payload in the post back as well. So that as soon as we deliver this, then bam, Facebook gives us back an API call that says, hey, I delivered that message. And then it also delivers us that payload ID, and we can now look that payload ID up in our database, which is this next message, and we can hit Facebook's API again and say, hey, deliver this guy. And that's how these continue automatically work. These guys right here work with the fact that I've delivered this. You know, everything's happening through JSON here. Literally, all of this is JSON. Whenever ManyChat is hitting Facebook API, they're literally handing them a JSON object, just like you see on those JSON ads. That is the data type that Facebook's API wants. So all of this gets compiled as a JSON object anyways. In that JSON object will be this element right here. This element will have a payload attached to it. So before, when I sent all you guys out, I sent you guys out and this looked like this. So now in that JSON, this guy has this guy's actual message thread as its payload, and this guy has this guy's message thread as his payload. Now, whenever I go in here and I switch these guys around and I say, now this goes here, and now this guy goes here, well, now any new messages that I have, this guy will have him as a payload, and this guy will have him as a payload. But all you guys already having this message out there, you guys have different payloads, so that old flow will still trigger. So you need to make sure that you actually understand that. But to actually answer your question, that is not a great question for me because it's just not my cup of tea or expertise. But if it was me, all right, if it was me and what I was doing was wanting to go in here and look at these values here, and I could see that, hey, one has a really, really low, and this guy has a really low, this guy has what appears to be a very, very low CTR, and set for if I bring up a calculator and I look at the fact that I've got 127 answers divided by 196 deliveries, I see that he's got a 65% CTR. But regardless, let's say if this guy is performing less than this guy, or they're just performing at a substandard or some rate that I don't really like, then yeah, most likely I would go in and try to either change the content of this guy or, you know, ask somebody that's an expert at that stuff. We do have a guy that's an expert at content and writing content and curating content that will come in and talk to us as a guest speaker as well. So I'd probably go in and ask that guy, or just try to do it myself and figure out what I could do different just in this step to get the conversion to be different. So yeah, I would probably just go in and edit that. I probably wouldn't necessarily edit my whole flow. Now, maybe I would. So that would be really that I would have to have some perspective of the actual flow. So if this guy right here that has a really low CTA, if this guy is behind a pretty substantial flow where I'm doing a lot of segmentation, and through that segmentation, I'm routing you all over the place, and part of that process, you eventually get to this guy. At that point, I may want to go in and actually either evaluate the content of this guy and why people aren't converting, evaluate my CTAs and figure out why people aren't clicking, or maybe go in and look at previous steps, and maybe I have sent the wrong demographic here, right? Maybe I've got a content that's really, really good for younger females, but through my demographics, what I typically get here are, you know, middle-aged men. So they just don't convert on this content. So I'd go back and look at that flow sequence and try to understand a little bit of the segmentation process that I'm using beforehand, how I'm routing somebody here, and if the person that I actually route here, if they are meeting the proper conditions and fall in the proper demographic of my ideal person who would end up converting here. But that's a bunch of marketing bullshit that I know nothing about, man. So I can't even talk about that because I don't know anything about that because I'm an engineer. But I would say I would do something like that.
All right. So one more question on that, if that's okay, and that is there a way to, so let's say you did change a block and a step, is there a way to just rebroadcast that step leading to that point where you had the failed conversion to the same people, and then them being retagged appropriately based on the new content that you had in there?
Yeah, you can broadcast anything that you want.
Or is there a way to create a new broadcast and make that entry point later on into the sequence?
Yeah, so you can also create a broadcast. You can create a broadcast, and you can make an entry point into any part into a sequence. But if you wanted to make an entry point into any part in the sequence, then what you need to do is you need to have some logic. All right. So if you go in here and use these little conditional blocks here you can have some logic. And let's say you can have a starting step right here. All right. Logic engine number 1. All right. Now let's say I create a couple logic engine guys. All right. Here, where what I'm going to do is, based on these logical conditions, I'm going to determine where I want you to be routed at. All right. Let's say at the end of the day, if you don't fulfill any of these conditions, I want to route you at the very beginning of this flow. All right. So I'll just do that at the beginning. All right. And then what I'm going to actually probably do myself, just because like I said, I'm anal, is I'm going to move this guy over here so that I don't end up crossing any lines over here, because I don't actually like to cross lines. And I can really see that I'm probably going to cross lines anyways. So let's say I've got my first condition. If I meet my first condition, then I know if I meet my first condition, I can just route you to the very end of this flow, because these 2 steps where I'm tagging you and I'm doing some segmentation, they just don't apply at all to you, because I can go in and check and see, hey, if you're already segmented with these tags, I don't need to go through the process that actually segments you with these tags, right? Because that's a real redundant process. So I'll just skip that and I'll take you right into the meat and potatoes and give you that meat and potatoes instead of giving you some salad and soup. But here, if I need to give you some salad and soup, then I'll give you some salad and soup right there. Here, if I needed to give you, drinks first, I'll give you that first, and I'll route you right in there. Okay. So now if that condition isn't met, I'll go in and check this condition. If that condition isn't met, then I'll go in and check that condition. So now I've got some actual logic here, and I've got a logic decision. And trust me, if you build your flows and your flows start with a logical engine, that's what we just created here. We created a very rudimentary logical engine. If you start your flows with logical engines, you can create really beautiful, really complex flows that now allow you to go in and, let's say somebody stops in the middle of a flow. Let's say you've got a flow that will take the normal person, 15 minutes to get through that flow, and somebody stops in the middle of that flow, or somebody, does something really stupid, and instead of hitting your little button that you gave there, your little quick reply, they give you some text, and that text just completely ends the flow, and they have no way to get to the next process in their flow. Well, as long as you've got some logical engine and you've got some actions in here keeping track of where that user is, you can send that user back to whatever step that they are in that flow, even if it's 100 steps long. You can just go in and say, hey, send this flow right back out to that guy, and instead of dropping him at the beginning, drop him here right in the middle, or drop him here right in the end. So if you set up some process like this, some logical engine process, then yes, you could go in now and you could broadcast this out to a bunch of people and then route them into whatever part of the flow that you actually want to route them into. All right. So if you do what most people do, which is just say, who cares about this logic? I don't understand that crap, so I'm not going to use it at all. So if you do that, then here, you have no way whatsoever to route people into different parts of this flow. Everybody's just going to go to the beginning of the flow. But can you send this out? Sure, you can just go in and send this out here, and you can just go into a broadcast, and in this broadcast, you can do a new broadcast, and you could come in here and you can edit this flow. And I'm pretty sure that you could just go to a flow right here. Now, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Here's that default reply. Let's just do that. No, I can't do that. So what can I do though? I already told you guys what you can do is you can perform an arbitrage. So I can go in here and add a tag, and that be called useless tag. All right. So I'll just put a useless tag on this person here. All right. Now that dude's tagged with a useless tag. So now their starting point, because they won't let me start here. So I'll just say, since you won't let me start here, I'm smarter than you, and I'll do this useless process that no one will ever know about. And then bam, I'm done. So now a bunch of people are tagged useless tags. You know how many times I can tag you with a useless tag? Indefinite amount. If you have this tag, I can apply this tag to you again. That just means do nothing, because I don't need to tag you. You're already tagged. So this doesn't affect me whatsoever. So a bunch of you guys have a useless tag. That just lets me know that I put you through some process, and I didn't want to actually, I put you through some process just like this, and I didn't want you to know about anything. So I added some useless tag. Now I can send out this broadcast. Now everybody will get this flow right here. That's what they'll get, is everybody will just be dropped right into this default reply flow. So I could show you that. Look, for example, I could show you that really easy just by hitting this back button right here. And then I could just go to next, and then I can do a condition, and I can do tag is attended right here. 18 of you guys that actually were nice enough to go in and click my link. If you guys didn't actually go in and click my link, if you guys could be so kind just to actually go in here, and if you could just go in here and click on this guy, I only need you to actually click on him once. But if you can go just click on that guy, that lets me know that you attended today's training session. And if you attended today's training session and you clicked that link already, you're one of those 18 people, you would have got some message just like I just sent you out. So you would have got this message right here, not that message. You would have got that default reply message that I literally just sent you out. Because I broadcasted out to you just so that you could see that, yes, you can go in at any time and you can send out a broadcast to do whatever that you want it to do. And in this case, I just sent you out the default reply flow. So we got about 7 minutes. I'm going to make sure, honestly, today, I'm going to make sure that we don't go over time on the sessions, because I've got strict times that we're starting the sessions on. And I have to be there for each one. So I want to make sure I get some time to, go pee and poop and do other stuff like eat. And, even my wife is just over here, laying on the ground, just thinking, it's Saturday. We should be having like a movie. You should be massaging me or painting my toenails, or, we should be walking by the park. But instead, you're just giving your time away to people for free. So she's just sitting over here looking all sad and stuff. So she'll probably spend like a couple minutes with her while she's there before she divorces me or something. So we got a little bit of time left, just a couple minutes. So if there's any quick things you guys want to do or talk about, then we can do that.
What you just mentioned as far as that ability to track where someone went, how far they've gone, so they can restart that sounds like a very useful module that can be, like you said, implemented over and over and over again, right? So I was driving while I was listening, so I couldn't quite see. But have you gone through that process of how to actually set up that mechanism so that they can keep track of how far someone went?
No, but we could do that. We could do that pretty easily, and I can show you guys how to do that pretty easily. It's pretty straightforward.
You have time now for this session, or will it be in the next one?
No, we'll do it in the next session because it will take more than 4 minutes to do. And like I said, I'm going to keep these really completely on time so that I get enough time to rest before the next session, and we don't start the next session late or anything like that.
Okay, cool.
But we do have 5 minutes. So with that being said, if you guys would be so kind, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you guys want, it's in that message that I just sent you on this page right here. This is my personal Facebook page. So on this page, you'll see at the very top, there is a post right here, a pinned post. I see several of you went in and actually did it already. If you want, just go in and just, do what this says and leave a comment on how you like today's session and how much value you got from it. Don't do things like this, like hello. So if you thought this was just a real stupid session, just say, John, you're an idiot. This was stupid. I'd never come back to your trainings. I hate you. If you thought this was awesome, then say, hey, this is awesome. If you learned something specific, then say that. If you really just want to say hello, then you can do that as well. But that would be great if you guys want to do that.
Hey, John, I have a question.
Bye or what?
Huh?
I said, are you saying bye, hello, or what?
I'm saying hello, and I wanted to ask, a couple of questions, if it's okay.
You only got 4 minutes, buddy.
Yeah, not for this session. Actually, I wanted to learn a little bit about the Shopify bot, and creating the, the flow, where, I can create that, connect this bot with Shopify. Is that possible? You can show this in next session?
I probably won't do it in the next session. I probably won't do that until this next Saturday session.
Okay, no problem.
But we can go over that. But honestly, I don't do a lot of stuff with Shopify, and I haven't had a lot of experience with that. So I need like 15 minutes to go in and figure out how to do all that stuff so that I can show you, hey, this is how all that works. So I'll do that once I'm actually prepared. I could basically do it ad hoc and go in it, but it won't be near as productive if I spend just a minimum amount of time going in and actually prepare myself to make sure that I understand that. And it's Shopify. It shouldn't take much more than 15 minutes for me to understand that, because that's pretty straightforward. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, man. Just wanted to ask you that question. But looking forward to it. But this is amazing, though. Thank you so much for providing such a value.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. So we got a couple minutes. Make sure you guys go in, and if you want, just comment on that post right there. And we're basically going to do that after every training session. I'm going to have a post just like that you guys can go in, because you guys are part of this whole free value. Is you guys are actually helping me create something that's going to be very valuable. And a lot of this is going to be social proof, because people don't believe things unless it's social proof. So that really helps me. We'll help each other out in these sessions. So we do have like 2 minutes. If somebody has a quick question that they can ask and I can answer really quickly, then we can do that, or we can just stop 2 minutes early. I'll try definitely not to go late, though.
John, I have a comment. I think that, at least it seems from this first program that you put out, it's somewhat unstructured. It's more freeform, and people will be asking questions and such. And why I think that's somewhat problematic is you have a degree of expertise that are within this membership. So some of the folks are going to be asking very detailed questions that have inferred specific experience with this tool, and others not so much. And I'm in the latter camp. So what I want from you is, if we can't get an agenda and topics for each of the sessions, I'm wondering if we could just have at least one of these sessions today to be somewhat more introductory, so that we can get everyone kind of on the same page. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, so we can totally do that. We can start off the next session and kind of go in and give a overview of all of this, so that those particular people that are on that session can understand everything. So that we can totally do, no issue with that. But the whole forum of the session is they are completely open sessions, and it's a completely open forum, because if I come pre-prepared, pre-scripted, and say, hey, these are all the things I'm going to teach you, that's going to be valuable. But it's going to be much more valuable if I just skip to the meat and potatoes and answer exactly what you want, or show you exactly how to do the stuff that you actually want to do. So as far as doing what you said, yeah, we can totally do that the next session. I got no problem with that. I can go through and spend some time because it's a lesser session. It's only a 1 hour session. So I can basically go in, do most of the session to walk you through everything on this platform, get you to understand all the basics and the generals of that, and then do a short Q&A after that will lead into Matt coming in and doing our guest speaker. So got no problem with that, guys. I will send you out a broadcast about 15 minutes before we start the next session. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one. It's 11 o'clock. It's been great. Thanks for coming. I'll see you guys really soon on the next session.